Welcome to another week down the allotment. I think the first thing we're going to do is take a look at all the growth and progress. Then we're going to get on, and like I said last week, we are going to get on top of that weeding. I'm going to weed around all of the raised beds, around the berry bushes. It's going to be another full-on day of weeding. But let's take a look at the progress. I'll get on and empty all these bags of manure onto the manure pile, because that's a job that needs doing before I do anything else. Inside the greenhouse, the broad beans are still going great guns. I am considering taking one of them out again and giving myself more space, but let's see. And then you can see from where we weeded last week, we've still got to keep on top of these weeds every single day. Every time we come down here now, it's just going to be keeping on top of these weeds. If I can keep pulling them out as we go along, look how easily they come out. It is just a case of keeping on top of them. So that's a big job for today, and then all along the path, because with the growth of all the stuff we're growing, it's also an increase in growth for the weeds, because everything's kicking in with this warmth. Now, it was meant to be sunny today, but as you can see, it's very overcast. And then I looked at the weather guide and it said overcast all day, which might be due to the fact that we are due some serious heat. Rhubarb, now that I've released it from being inside the bin cover, has come up great guns. You've got, I mean, that's almost usable, but we'll leave it to keep growing. Mystery bulbs need weeding. Like I said, everything needs weeding. My stinging nettle supplies come on great guns. I'm actually starting a 7-day challenge, £1 a day. Now, I don't know, this might be contentious, but I was going to use some dandelions and I was going to use some stinging nettles. I might take them from here because I know no dogs weed on them. I mean, I could go out to the park and take some, but why risk it when I've got a supply here? I think I'm done stacking over the potatoes now. I'm just going to let them grow through. I know that they're buried deep enough. We've got two of our bags of potatoes. And I didn't show you the how much growth we've got on the garlic. Look. Check this out for growth. Some seriously big stalks on them now, stems on them now. I have so many gooseberries and loganberries this year. There's so much growth, so many berries on every stem, everywhere you look. Super happy with that. The peas don't look too happy. They haven't died back completely, but it's not been too warm for them, so we'll leave them as is to see how they get on. But I will sow some more peas. The broad beans have seemed to have survived. We've had a couple of frosty mornings, but nothing like a real hard frost, so they're doing really well considering we put them out last week. So I need to work out which ones, if they're gooseberries or loganberries, and if these look more like the gooseberries, don't they? Look at these. Look at the size of these ones. Look at these beauties. All over. So we really didn't do any harm by cutting these back at all. Not when you see the amount of fruit these are bearing at the moment. Same on this one. And my carrots have a fighting chance from last week's weeding. They've come up quite a lot, you can see the lines. And then look inside the grapevine. So all this growth is right where the stem is down the bottom, look. And then it's spreading out all the way across the greenhouse. Might just leave that now as is, and then come back, just keep an eye on it and see how it grows this season. I'll keep that pulled too. That's all the progress. I am going to get on and get rid of these manure bags and then start weeding. That was cute. The lucky one today, I've got a close-up visit from Mr. Robin and a kiss from Rosie the horse. And I'm knackered. I've just weeded out all along here. I get all the roots out as much as possible and the gully behind it. And the path. And all the stuff growing around the bottom of the greenhouse. Ooh, right, I'm having a coffee break. Mr. Robin's taking advantage of my work, grabbing all the little grubs and bugs. I'm having a coffee break and he's getting to work. I love robins. One of my favourite creatures on the planet. I don't know, they're just full of character. So he wasn't eating them straight away, he was gathering them up, so she's probably feeding, or he's probably feeding their babies. Collecting all the worms and stuff. I think I'm going to do another half hour, clear that back end, so the whole of that back end of bushes is done and this pathway's done along here. It's going to be a fair few weeks. It's probably going to be the rest of May. It's going to be keeping on top of the weeds down here, just catching up with them, if I'm honest. I've got lots of things growing on the windowsill. After I've had this coffee, I'll show you the growth. I've potted up the courgettes, the squash, the cucumber. There's only one healthy one, but one's enough for me. I will plant another spare one just in case. The tomatoes are in bigger pots as well. So everything's kind of been potted up into bigger pots on the windowsills because they were outgrowing their little trays you saw last week. So I'll show you that in a minute. I'm going to plant up, when we get back in a bit, I'm going to plant up some lettuce and some radish because I want to start getting some more greens, salad greens on the go. I've been working our way through the rocket and it just saves money. I mean, I'm doing a lot of budgeting stuff on the channel because I think A, it's really relevant and it's kind of hit a chord with a lot of people on the channel, and B, it's always good to save money and try and eat healthier, try and budget better, because the more you save, the more you've got for other expenses, haven't you? So I'm trying to grow loads of stuff this year to kind of supplement the shopping budget. I think the cheaper items are the carrots and the onions, so some people may say, well, it's cheaper to buy them because I can buy a kilogram of onions for £1, but you don't get the same flavour profile. They're not as good in my opinion. And the same with the carrots, really. If you're lucky enough to have a little bit of space to grow your own carrots and onions and you try them, there's no comparison. And the garlic I can dry out like I do most years and just store and use throughout the winter, which is saving me money. Garlic's a little bit more expensive to buy. And then I'm going to get into my canning and preserving this year. I'm really going to go. So I've said this a few times on the channel. I like to make dill pickles. It's one of my favourite things to make. I just make the jars, kiln the jars full of dill pickles, and then me and Peyton pretty much work our way through them, and then I give them out to family and friends as well, providing I get the jar back. That's the rule. You can have a jar of pickles, but I need the jar back for next year, otherwise you don't get any more pickles. I'm going to try and make some jams, some preserves. If I get a glut of tomatoes, now I'm having a bit of a bad one with tomatoes, and I think that is because I've been too eager planting them out. Here comes the train. First train today. How close it is at the back. Just enough to have 2 full cups of coffee while I'm having a natter before I get back on with my work. Where was I? I got distracted by the train. Oh, Mr. Robin's back as well. I'm getting distracted by everything today. Yeah, so I want to try and make some jams, some preserves. I want to make some salsas if I get enough tomatoes. My tomatoes aren't looking great. Now, I don't know if it's because they've got cold or I potted them on too early. This one's actually come back a little bit. See the dead things on here? I just pinch them off. So it's not putting any effort into the dying out ones. Gonna have to wait and be a bit more patient and plant out when we get a bit more heat. And talking of heat, we've got a heat wave coming this week. So they say. So they reckon we're going to get up to like 27, 26, 27 down here on the south. That's going to be hot. It's always when, it's never on a week off, is it? It's always when you're at work when you get the heat waves. But that will mean coming down again during the week. I got away with it this week. I should have come down on a bit of weeding, but I thought I'll take a break because we've had a lot of rain this week. So I didn't have to come down and water. I always give the greenhouse ones a good old soak in anyway before I leave on a Saturday. And Dave, the Welsh Wizard, you might know him off the channel, he comes down here and does DIY maintenance stuff. And if it gets too dry this week, I might ask if he can just chuck a watering can around. I think that Robin's done about 4 trips since I've been talking. Definitely taking advantage of the food with babies probably. I do think it's because it's got babies, it's become a little bit braver. But enough waffling. I'm going to finish my coffee. I'll show you what's going on at home with the growth and the progress. Finish up weeding the rest of the around the rest of the berry bushes, and I'm going to call that a day because I want to go watch some rugby this afternoon. The cress is still going strong. The spinach beets has got massive now. Look at that over the course of the week. The courgettes, the cucumbers, everything's growing nicely with big leaves, but they're in bigger pots, so they will stay in for a little bit longer. The rocket's come back after its haircut from being used. The cabbage is happy in the pots, needing to go out, and the runner beans have just gone mad. Look at that, right the way up, halfway up the window ledge. Loads of growth, maybe planted them a little bit early. I'm going to try and stick them out next week, and then if they fail because we get a frost, I've got plenty of time to put more. Jesus, it's so noisy, that drilling. I've got tomatoes up on the upstairs window ledge. The leeks are still going strong. The pepper plants, the goji berry's not looking too happy, but I'm just going to leave him be. And more squash and courgettes. Made some brilliant progress today on the weeding. Doesn't need to be all completed in one day. There's a space here which I might grow a squash, and now that I've cleared out the back end here, I've definitely got some room for a couple of things to grow in there. Maybe my courgettes can go in there, and I might stick them in. Actually, that's a really good idea. There's where my courgette's going to go. And that's where my squash is going to go, and my courgettes. What I'm going to do is dig them in a little bit next week, and squash and courgettes like lots of well rotted manure, so I think what we'll do is we'll fill them up, have them as raised, and then that way we can control the courgettes and the squash from growing, because it's a vine, because they're vine plants, they will just go everywhere and take over everything. So that's I'm really happy with that idea. Actually, I think I've got another one somewhere. Hang on. It's meant to be leaving, but just thinking up ideas. Yes. There you go. So we've got some bigger than pot containers which let the roots go down into the soil. That's the job for next week. So we're going to weed the rest of this area here. Weed the paths. Definitely need to weed the paths. Now that I've got the back end done a little bit. Just watching Mr. Robin, seeing if he's going to come over for one last trip. I don't know if you can see him, he's there. There he is. Oh, he approves of my tub. that's me done for the day. Thank you so much for checking it out and watching all the way through. And if you get a chance and you want to help the channel, just hit that like button and jump in the comments. It really helps the channel to grow. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great week, and I hope to see you in the next video.